to working better together. Today we chat with Claude Silver, coach, manager, mentor, and Vayner Media's Chief Heart Officer.
Go. And we're live. So Claude, how is it, before I get going, is it Claude or Cloud?
It is Claude.
Claude.
And you perfectly with your accent because it's really French. Claude. So
okay.
Claude. And so anyone east of America says it correctly.
So it's Claude. Claude. Okay, brilliant. So Claude, thanks a lot for joining us today. Really looking forward to this, to just touching base with you. We've heard so much about your involvement with Gary Vee and the company and just the scale and the amazing culture that you guys have built over the last few years. And what I'm really just keen to touch base on is just the biggest thing is like how you've managed to assist with the growth of the culture within the company. It's just a fast-paced company. I mean, how much did you grow from? You're at 800 now, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we have VaynerX, and VaynerX is our umbrella company.
Yeah.
Vayner Media itself is about 650. VaynerX is 850, close to 9.
My goodness.
It's all under one roof. It's all me. It's all Gary. It's all, yeah.
And you've been there 4 years, is that right? Yeah.
4.5. It'll be 5 in May.
And how much staff was there? How many staff was there when you first started?
I was 389.
Wow. So that's incredible growth. So I mean, my biggest question, I think a lot of companies struggle with this, is that from what we've heard just about the company is that you managed to retain the culture, but not only retain it, but actually grow and improve the culture. So I'm keen to just hear your insights and your thoughts of how you managed to do that within the company, you know, in such a short time span for vertical growth, but how to actually retain and grow the culture as well.
Yeah, exactly. So a long time ago when we started, Gary pronounced that this culture would be family first and we would be good to one another. And I think culture really needs to stem from the top. And then it is all the people that create and are responsible for cultivating this culture on a daily basis. So it's definitely not me. However, a role like mine is extremely helpful in that my one and only really big job is to meet every single human being here. Every single human being.
Or 800.
Yep. That is it. As a matter of fact, when I had the remit from Gary, it was touch every single human being and infuse the agency with empathy. So I had to figure out how to do that. And I had to macro and micro. So I started thinking about, you know, the well and the faucet, and making sure that I was touching both. So the great thing is that people really want to be here.
Yeah.
And, you know, motivated people, inspired people want to be here because they know we're going someplace. They either are attracted to Gary, they're attracted to the work we do, they hear about it in the market, they're entrepreneurial. That's a huge part of us. So they come here, they want to give their best. We've created a culture where people really feel that they belong, super important, where they feel as though they're both emotionally safe, physically safe, because that's really at the bottom of Maslow's pyramid. That's super important. Connection, human beings are wired to be in connection, community with one another. So there are all these affinity groups that have grown and sprung out of the ground organically. Whether or not, if you're LGBTQ, there's a pride group. If you describe yourself as Hispanic or Latino, there's a group for you called the Amigos Squad. There's something for everyone, which really helps us also with diversity and inclusivity, which is, of course, on everyone's mind. So that's super, I mean, I think that's just super helpful because that's happened organically. You have me, you have these culture champions that I've been able to create in every single office. Those are people that really just get us. They understand what it's like to be on the right side of history. They're the bigger people in every situation. They're collaborators. They come from a we, not I type of place. The we, not I is essential.
Okay. Just something I want to touch on, just in terms of your culture champions. We see this quite a bit of a challenge in companies, you know, that they almost like put the culture champion on the HR's like responsibility. And I'm kind of keen to understand how you've managed to scale that. I mean, who do you normally appoint as a culture champion? Is it more of a line manager, or is it maybe someone who heads up a department? How do you identify that person?
It's anyone. It's the person that cleans. It literally is the person that cleans our kitchen. I'm not even joking.
Wow.
It's someone that we know has enough self-awareness to be empathetic and to be a collaborator, to not be a micromanager and just hold everything. And it's someone that I know I can trust when Billy or Bob or Sally is having a rough day or needs to make friends. I can send them 10 people, and these 10 people are going to have 10 different ways of describing Vayner Media, 10 different ways of talking about why they're here. But it all is going to ladder up to the fact that this is a place where we are creating life skills and hard skills. We're putting those things together and we're making magic. I mean, people, it's the lifeblood here. And I know I can say that everywhere I've been, right?
Yeah.
Because I've worked at all those great agencies and they're all terrific. There is something very different here. And I think it is who Gary is and the inspiration that he is, obviously, as the CEO. It's the fact that he allows people to run free. There's so much runway here. If you have a side hustle, right on, cool. That means you're curious and you're creative and you're going to bring that type of fire into the agency every day. So I think that's the thing, is that we allow people, we want people to color outside the box. We don't want people to be all
exactly. Because you want to stifle people, you know, and squash what their capacity and what they could do.
Yeah, exactly.
And my understanding, I mean, were you in advertising previously? Is that right? You were in strategy and client service?
Yeah.
And what got you so excited about this heading up and managing people or growing, you know, people?
I've always been excited about it. I've always been that tennis coach, that soccer captain. You know, I went on a very large outward bound 93-day semester where I learned all about teamwork, servant leadership. So it's in my DNA. It literally comes from my family. I know it. I'd rather give than receive. It's who I am. I have an enormous pilot light inside of me for, I root and champion other people. It's just who I am. So while I was doing strategy work, client service work, while I was working on these Fortune 10, Fortune 50 brands, I always managed a big team because that comes to you naturally. That just happens to be my strength. Where someone else's strength is finance, or someone else's strength is hitting home runs on a baseball field every single day.
So you didn't study HR or human resources?
No, I studied psychology.
Okay, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
And your title right now is the Chief Heart Officer, is that right?
Chief Heart Officer.
And how did you come up with the name? You know, that's quite unique. I've never actually heard it. I don't think I've seen it on anyone's title resume on LinkedIn.
I think it's the only one for sure. I think
that describes it. It's the best way to describe the role.
Gary, Gary is such a creative and he loves branding. We see the world of HR. We see the world of humans as heart. Yeah. Heart, the central operating system of a person and of an agency, of a community, of a culture. So when I told him, really, hey, I don't want to sell anymore. I don't want to sell this anymore. I really only care about the people, the heartbeat of this place is what I said. Yeah. That's how we came up with it.
And you know what? Maybe you can help identify this, but what I've seen with, especially in the large organizations, is that the moment you've got people that have studied HR and have gone through those hoops to get where they are, I find that those are the people that are normally screwing up people, you know. But where you find people that have really got a heart and passion over people that maybe haven't studied it, but they normally come from different backgrounds. They come from a creative, I often see that people come from a creative background or a strategic background, and they decide to lead and manage teams and actually ultimately champion the culture of the company. I don't know if you've experienced that at all.
Yeah, oh, I've experienced that in my past a lot because I wasn't in HR. And so the people in HR were, they were compliant people. They were, you knew you were in trouble, or you knew you were being relocated. It was all very much dotting your I's, crossing your T's. The thing about HR is they've also gotten a really bad rap. I mean, they need a rebranding because they're seen as investigators or policemen and women. And the fact is, we have to bring the humanity back into the world of organizations, but we need to bring the humanity into HR because I've just lost its way. And for no other reason than when the world of, companies needed compliance. They needed people to stay on track. And HR people were those people that were designated to kind of like, crack the whip.
Yeah.
So the more, I think the more creative and curious about human nature and human behavior a person is, the better they are at shaping and cultivating culture and certainly growing and developing a person. Because there's a real desire there.
Yeah. And tell me, we've heard so much just about people staying at Vayner Media and maybe even leaving and often coming back. What do you think is the culture within the company that keeps drawing people back, and keeping them there?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. One, Gary and his point of view on marketing and business today is like no one else's. His everything he does is rooted in touching the consumer's life, not making the client exceptionally happy. It's touching a consumer's life and making their life better. That's a really
that's flipping it around, which is great.
It's completely reverse engineering marketing. And that right there is addictive because you leave Vayner Media, you go out into the world and you realize, oh man, no one thinks like that. Everyone just thinks I need to please the client. And we forget that end consumer. So that's the first thing. I think when you walk into any Vayner Media office, you feel a momentum and motion like nowhere else I've ever been. And that's addictive. Every day we're moving forward. This company, every single day, is moving towards something. And we might change direction tomorrow. We might change direction the next day, but we are not going backwards. So we're not staying the same.
So in other words, if you're looking for a nice, safe, cushy 9-to-4 job to tick off boxes, that's not the place to be.
That's right. I don't even know what 9-to-4 means, but that's not to say that we definitely have and do our best to find balance in our work life. And I work with individuals a lot on that. Yeah. But this is a place where anything is possible, and we are in the business of yes. And so, like, who doesn't want to be around yes?
Yeah, exactly. And it's such an amazing time and market to be in that place right now. I mean, you can't actually build in a better way, So
he's so smart. I mean, our Gary he's such a smart guy. He's a generous guy, and he's so straightforward. You don't have to get any kind of book to understand where he's coming from. You don't need a dictionary. It's pretty simple. And the fact of the matter is, human beings are pretty simple. We just overcomplicate stuff all the time.
Yeah. To be honest with you, it was quite transparent and vulnerable. I mean, when I first started following him a few years ago, his initial impression to me was that he came across quite arrogant, and my first impression was, I'm not gelling with this. And then over the years, I've really actually realized what a humble, down-to-earth person he is, and he's genuinely there to try and help people.
Yeah, that's it. Content. The messages of his content are super simple.
Yeah.
Kindness, get your shit together. You can do this. Social media marketing.
And tell me, are those driven through in the values as well in the company? What are the values right now?
So, heart.
Yeah.
For sure. Hustle. So heart, empathy, hustle, which we equate to speed, because speed is a massive ROI.
Yeah.
Curiosity, possibility, entrepreneurship, kindness.
That's brilliant. It's better than integrity and teamwork.
Yeah, I mean, you need all of those other things to get to integrity and teamwork.
Yeah, exactly.
Teamwork is a value because, I mean, if you don't have kindness, collaboration, curiosity, and empathy towards someone, then teamwork is nothing but, eight letters.
Wow, that's brilliant. So, Claude, thanks a lot for your time. We're running out. I know this has gone on for quite a bit of time, but before we end off, I just want to ask you a final few questions. How do you spend your day on average? I mean, I can imagine you're crazy busy with about 800 people. Right?
I see people, individuals on a 15-minute basis.
Okay.
In a lot of my day, I work in people operations. I figure out, how to help someone communicate with their manager, fight fires. I really do my best to spread as much friendliness and empathy as I can in all of the offices. So I'm communicating with people here in New York and all over the place.
Right. And what's your recent favorite reading material?
Reading material?
Yeah.
So I really like You Are a Badass by Jen Cisnero. I think it's a phenomenal book. It's simple and it's incredibly easy to grasp. Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown. I mean, yes, Take the Roof Off. That's an incredible book. And I always go back to Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Wow, you gave me some materials. I thought my list was full of bookmarks, but I have to add those on my list. And your favorite productivity tool or software?
One more time.
Your favorite productivity tool or like software that you use on a daily basis?
I mean, I have to say Slack, but for work, I would say Slack or Instant Message. However, I love any kind of banking app. Any kind of app I can get on my phone, Spotify, obviously, Instagram. So anything that gives me information at a click, one click.
Right. And what do you think is your biggest challenge with managing people these days?
Getting people to listen.
Listen. Is it the age? Do you think is it the younger generation that's struggling or just through and through?
No, it's all of us. We all have egos and we all think that we're right. So how do you hold space, quiet yourself, hold space and let someone else talk without judgment? You have to have a lot of awareness to do that. Yeah. So, that comes with self-awareness, that comes with maturity, but not everyone has it. And so, I think the more we can listen to one another, the more peace we'll find in this world, but the more creativity and efficiency we'll land on. Yeah.
The book I go back to on a yearly basis when it comes to that is The Mighty Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Have you read it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the only message I get out of the book continuously is just always take a step back, listen to people, and find out what's best for them. And that's what pretty much life comes to, and work and clients and everything, employees and everything. So
I think we learned that in elementary school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we really appreciate the time here. I can't thank you enough. Maybe hopefully looking forward to catching up in a year or so and seeing how you've grown and how the company's grown. It's really exciting. Thanks a lot for your time.
I'll get down to Cape Town soon.
Oh, definitely hook us up. We're in the CBD, and most of us live along the coast. So we'd love to take you on a bit of a tour. So yeah, thanks a lot. Give us a high five. Whoa.